You ready to dive in again?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Awesome. Today, we're taking a look at the one and only Victoria Principal.
Pamela Barnes-Ewing.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who might not know, that's her iconic role from Dallas.
That's the one.
But we're going to go way beyond Dallas today.
Oh yeah, tons to unpack.
We're using her Wikipedia page as our main source.
So, think big picture stuff, like a panoramic view of her whole life.
Exactly. Now, I don't know about you, but I was pretty surprised to find out she started her career at 5 years old.
5 years old? Seriously?
Yeah, and get this, she almost became a lawyer.
Whoa, that's a completely different path.
Right, but thankfully for us, she ended up on Dallas.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Totally. Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to the beginning. Where does this story start?
Well, she wasn't born in Texas, that's for sure.
Oh, really? Where was she born?
Fukuoka, Japan, in 1950. A true military brat.
A military brat.
Oh yeah, she went to get to 17 different schools.
17.
I know.
That's wild. I can't even imagine.
Just constant adapting, new places all the time, new people.
Yeah, that's going to have a lasting impact.
Oh, absolutely. It shapes you, that's for sure.
And then from Japan to England for ballet school.
The Royal Ballet School, no less.
Wow. Talk about discipline and dedication.
Right. That kind of training, it stays with you.
So we've got Japan, England, then all over the US. How does Hollywood enter the picture?
Well, there's this pivotal moment. A serious car accident when she was studying pre-med in Miami.
The one caused by a drunk driver, right?
That's the one.
Scary stuff. It really puts things into perspective.
And it really makes her decision to pursue acting that much more powerful.
Yeah, like she was reclaiming her life, her choices.
Totally. So she moves to LA in 1971, ready to chase that dream.
And lands a role alongside Paul Newman in The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean for her very first film.
Not bad for a first gig, right?
Talk about starting at the top. And she even snagged a Golden Globe nomination for Most Promising Newcomer.
She was on fire.
I read that she spent time with actual Mexican-American women in Texas to prepare for that role.
Really? Wow, she went all in.
Yeah, she was all about getting it right, truly embodying the character.
It's amazing how she considered such different paths, from medicine to law, than acting.
Well, all those different interests, all that knowledge, it all comes together, doesn't it?
Totally. I mean, that legal background probably came in handy later on when she was negotiating contracts and running her own businesses.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of bold choices, can we talk about Naked Ape for a minute?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a eyebrow raiser back then.
But you got to admit, it takes guts to take on a role like that, especially early in your career.
Totally. And then came Earthquake, a classic disaster film.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
She beat out some big names for that role.
Really? Like who?
Susan Sarandon and Kay Lentz. And to nail the audition, she even did this whole transformation. Chopped off her hair, styled it in an afro.
Wow. Talk about commitment.
Right. She wasn't messing around.
So she's killing it with these movie roles. Did she go straight from Earthquake to Dallas?
Actually, no. There's this fascinating little detour.
Oh.
She actually becomes a Hollywood talent agent.
A talent agent? Really?
Yeah, can you believe it?
I mean, it makes sense in a way, right? It's like getting a crash course in how Hollywood works.
Totally. The deals, the casting, the whole behind-the-scenes machinery.
Exactly. It's like going to Hollywood University.
I love that, Hollywood University.
Ah.
But of course, she couldn't stay away from acting forever.
Right. That pull was too strong.
And that's when Dallas comes knocking.
The role that would change everything.
Pamela Barnes-Ewing.
And she just knew, right? When she read that script, she knew that role was hers.
It's like destiny.
Total destiny. So Dallas becomes this global phenomenon.
It was huge. Everyone was hooked, especially with that Who Shot JR mystery.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
It was the talk of the town. And Victoria as Pamela, she was right at the heart of it all.
What's amazing is that even with all that Dallas craziness, she was already thinking ahead.
Oh yeah. She negotiated her contract so she could still do other projects.
Smart. Like what kind of projects?
Commercials, writing books.
She was a busy woman.
Always hustling, always building her empire.
It's like she had this long-term vision, even back then.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk more about those Dallas years. Anything particularly juicy stand out to you?
Oh, well, there was that whole dream season thing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They wrote Patrick Duffy, who played Bobby, off the show, then brought him back a year later.
I know. And they explained it by saying the whole 9th season was just Pam's dream.
Wild.
I know, right?
The things they could get away with back then.
It's crazy. But eventually, Even with all the success, Victoria decided to leave the show.
Yeah, and it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision either.
No, she spent 2 years working with the producers to give Pamela's story a proper ending.
It was a carefully planned exit designed to have impact.
She was thinking long game.
It's pretty rare to see that kind of foresight in Hollywood, especially when a show is as popular as Dallas was.
It really shows how much she understood storytelling. And she wanted to leave on a high note.
So before we move on to what she did after Dallas, let's take a minute to appreciate this first act of her career.
Oh, yeah. It's an amazing story. Resilience, ambition, and a willingness to embrace whatever life throws at you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And what a journey, right? From Japan to Hollywood to the top of the TV world.
And she was just getting started.
Exactly. But that's a story for next time, as we dive into Victoria Principal, the entrepreneur, the author, the philanthropist.
Oh, it's going to be good.
It definitely is. So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive.
Walking away from Dallas when it was at the top, that took guts. But you didn't just disappear, you know?
Right. It's like she used that momentum to launch herself into something completely new.
Exactly. And that something new was her own production company.
Victoria Principal Productions.
She was ready to call the shots, to tell her own stories.
That entrepreneurial spirit, it's pretty inspiring. What kind of projects did she go for?
Lots of TV movies. She produced and starred in Naked Lie, Blind Witness, Sparks, The Price of Passion.
Those titles alone, definitely different vibes from Dallas.
Right. Definitely exploring some darker themes, complex characters.
But she didn't completely shy away from lighter stuff either.
Oh, yeah. She popped up on Home Improvement. Just shoot me. Even Family Guy.
Hold on, Victoria Principal on Family Guy.
I know, right? Gotta love a woman who doesn't take herself too seriously.
Totally. Oh, and what about that French comedy she did?
Michael Caine versus the World News Company.
Yeah, that one. The cast was interesting, to say the least.
Mickey Rooney, Elliot Gould. It's definitely one of those you got to see to believe it kind of movies.
So it seems like she was experimenting, trying out different genres, different roles.
Definitely. She wasn't afraid to stretch those acting muscles.
Did she ever go back to the soap opera world?
She did, actually. Aaron Spelling's Titans.
Titans? Wasn't that supposed to be like the next dynasty?
That was the idea, but it didn't last long, unfortunately.
Oh, too bad. But you know what's really fascinating to me is her whole shift from Hollywood star to beauty and wellness guru.
It's a pretty incredible transition.
Yeah.
And she didn't just slap her name on some products and call it a day.
Oh, yeah. She dove headfirst into the science of skincare, became a member of the Society of Cosmetic Chemists.
Seriously. Wow.
She was all about authenticity, wanted to genuinely help people feel good in their own skin.
And that authenticity really resonated. Her skincare line, Principal Secret, became $1 billion business.
$1 billion. She really tapped into something, didn't she?
Totally. And she didn't stop there. She wrote a whole series of best-selling books.
The Body Principle, The Beauty Principle,
The Diet Principle.
Living Principle.
She was all about promoting a holistic approach to wellness.
It wasn't just about looking good. It was about feeling good, inside and out, empowering women to take charge of their health and well-being. Okay, but we can't forget about her philanthropy.
Oh yeah, that's a huge part of her story. She founded the Victoria Principal Foundation for Thoughtful Existence.
And what does that focus on?
Environmental causes, animal rescue, children's welfare.
It's like she took all that drive and passion from her career and poured it into making the world a better place.
Absolutely. And she's incredibly generous with her donations. Oceana, NRDC, American Humane Association.
Those are some big names doing some really important work. Okay, but enough about saving the world.
Yeah.
Let's dish a little about her personal life.
All right, let's get into it. 2 marriages. High-profile relationships, including one with singer Andy Gibb. They even recorded a duet together.
Wait, seriously, a duet with Andy Gibb?
It happened.
I would love to hear that. But anyway, it just goes to show she's always been open to new experiences in both her career and her personal life.
Definitely not afraid to take risks. So where's she now? What's she up to these days?
She's living a much quieter life now, on a ranch outside of LA.
Sounds peaceful.
It is. And guess what? She's rescuing and rehabilitating animals.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. It's like she's found this beautiful way to give back, to use her resources to create a safe haven for these animals.
It really speaks to her compassion.
It does. So let's recap for a second. We started with Victoria Principal, the actress. Then we saw her become this incredible entrepreneur, author, philanthropist.
She's a true force of nature.
And what strikes me the most is her ability to constantly reinvent herself, to embrace change and create her own path.
Yeah, she's always evolving, always pushing herself to learn and grow.
This deep dive has been eye-opening, to say the least. I mean, I knew her from Dallas, but wow, there's so much more to her story.
It just goes to show there's always more beneath the surface.
Absolutely. So what's the big takeaway here? What can we learn from Victoria Principal's extraordinary life?
I think it's about realizing that success isn't one size fits all. It's about defining it for yourself and then having the courage to go after it, even if it means going against the grain.
And it's never too late to reinvent yourself, to pursue your passions, to make a difference in the world.
Exactly. Her story is a powerful reminder that we all have that potential within us.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm left feeling incredibly inspired.
Me too. She's truly lived an extraordinary life.
Now the question is, what will WE do with our own lives?
Ooh, that's a good one. What are we holding ourselves back from? What dreams are we ignoring?
What changes are we resisting?
Victoria Principal's story tells us it's never too late to rewrite our own narratives.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. If Victoria Principal can reinvent herself so many times over, always following her heart,
It really makes you wonder, what's stopping the rest of us from doing the same thing?
that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What are we holding on to?
What are we afraid of? What are we putting off until someday?
And that someday might never come.
You know, for me, what really stands out about her is that commitment to always learning and growing.
Yeah, like no matter what she's doing, she's always diving in head first, mastering a new skill, taking on a new challenge.
And always advocating for the things she believes in.
Exactly. It's inspiring to see someone who's never stopped learning, even after achieving so much success.
This deep dive has been amazing.
Oh, I agree. I knew her from Dallas, obviously,
Yeah.
but I had no idea how much she'd done beyond that.
From Japan to Hollywood to a ranch full of rescued animals.
She's really lived a full life, and it's not over yet.
I know, it's crazy to think about everything she's accomplished, from acting to business to philanthropy.
Yeah.
She's done it all.
And she's done it all on her own terms. It's pretty incredible.
So what's the biggest lesson we can take away from all of this? What's the message that really sticks with you?
I think it's that our lives don't have to fit into any neat little boxes.
Right.
We can be more than one thing. We can evolve. We can change. And we can define success however we want to.
That's a powerful message. Victoria Principal's life is proof that we don't have to stay stuck in one lane.
We can create our own paths. We can embrace the unknown. And we can make a real difference in the world, even if it's just in our own little corner of it.
It's all about making choices that align with our values and our passions.
And then going after them with everything we've got.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the extraordinary life of Victoria Principal,
I'm left with a sense of hope, honestly. It's like anything is possible.
I feel that too. It's like she's shown us what's possible when we follow our hearts and never stop learning and growing.
Exactly. So I guess the question now is,
What are WE going to do with all this inspiration?
what paths are we going to forge?
What legacies are we going to leave behind?
I can't wait to find out.
Me neither. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.